It was supposed to be a peaceful morning in a small-town diner, the kind where the smell of pancakes and coffee fills the air and people greet each other like family. The sun was golden through the windows, jazz played softly, and the world seemed calm, until a single cruel act turned that calm into chaos. A young woman sat quietly in the corner booth, hands gently resting on her growing belly, a hopeful smile on her face. She wasn't just any woman. She was carrying a new life, a symbol of love, trust, and beginnings. But in a few minutes that smile would fade. Her eyes would fill with tears and the whole diner would go silent, because someone decided to humiliate her for no reason at all. If you believe in kindness, respect, and second chances, then please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us keep spreading stories that remind the world what humanity truly means. Her name was Clara, and she had been through enough pain already. Just a few months before, she lost her home in a fire and had to start over. Her husband, Jake, was away most of the time. A biker, yes, but not the kind people feared. He was part of a group of veterans who helped rebuild homes and raised money for charity rides. They looked tough on the outside, leather jackets and roaring bikes, but inside, they carried hearts full of loyalty and protection. Clara adored him for that. Every morning he'd call before heading out on the road, telling her, "Stay strong, sweetheart. You and our little one are my reason to keep going." That morning, Clara was craving something sweet. She decided to visit a diner she hadn't been to before, Marty's Diner, known for its pancakes and friendly service. She wore a soft burgundy jacket, her hair tied neatly, and carried a small notebook where she often wrote letters to her unborn baby. She looked like any other kind, gentle woman, enjoying breakfast alone. But to a few heartless men behind the counter, she was just another customer to laugh at. The diner was unusually rowdy that morning. A group of waiters, led by one named Ned, were joking around loudly. They were young, arrogant, and full of that empty pride people get when they think kindness makes them weak. Ned noticed Clara sitting quietly, rubbing her belly, and whispered to his CO workers with a smirk, "Watch this. She looks like she's gonna cry easy." His friends chuckled, and before anyone could stop him, he grabbed a glass of water, strutted over, and poured it straight over Clara's head. The laughter that followed was cruel. It echoed through the diner, bouncing off the silver counters and red booths. Clara froze, her fork clattering onto her plate. The cold water soaked her hair, her clothes, and the little note she had written to her baby, now smudged beyond recognition. For a second, she couldn't breathe. Tears filled her eyes as Ned laughed louder, patting his friends on the back like he had done something heroic. "Oops," he said mockingly. "Guess someone needed to cool off." The other customers went silent, unsure whether to speak or stay quiet. Most lowered their heads, pretending not to see. But in that painful silence, something heavy shifted in the air. Because just then, the sound of roaring engines rolled in from outside, deep, thunderous, unmistakable. The kind of sound that makes windows tremble and hearts skip a beat. Clara didn't look up, but the waiters did. Outside the glass door, 5 men stepped off their motorcycles, leather vests, dark glasses, and an aura that screamed, "Don't mess with us." The man leading them had grey in his beard, a hard stare, and a presence that filled the room even before he walked in. His name was Jake. The laughter stopped instantly. Ned's grin vanished when he saw Clara look up. Not at him, but at the man standing at the entrance. Her trembling lips barely formed the word, "Jake." Jake's eyes flicked from his wife's soaked hair to the shattered look on her face, and then to the waiter still holding the glass. Time seemed to freeze. The diner fell silent. No laughter, no chatter, just the ticking of the wall clock and the heavy footsteps of 5 bikers walking in. Jake didn't shout. He didn't need to. His silence was louder than any threat. He reached Clara first, gently placing his hands on her shoulders, whispering something only she could hear. Her tears broke free, and she buried her face against him. Then Jake stood up, turning to the waiter. The young man tried to laugh it off, stammering, "Hey man, it was just a joke." But his voice cracked under Jake's glare. Jake didn't raise a hand. He didn't need violence to make his point. Instead, he said, calm but deep, "You just poured water on my wife, my pregnant wife." Those words hit the room like thunder. Even the other waiters stepped back. One of the bikers picked up the soggy notebook from the table, reading the smudged words still visible. "Dear baby, your daddy can't wait to meet you." He looked at Ned, his jaw tightening. Jake took a deep breath, trying to control his anger. Years in the army had taught him how to channel rage into purpose. "You think this is funny?" he said. "She's carrying life inside her. Do you even know what that means?" His voice cracked slightly, not from fury, but from heartbreak. The diner owner rushed in from the kitchen, having heard the commotion. "Please, please, let's not make a scene," he began, but Jake cut him off. "The scene already happened," he said quietly. "You just didn't care enough to stop it." Clara looked up at her husband, her eyes red but calm now. She placed a hand on his chest, whispering, "Let's just go." But Jake shook his head gently. "Not yet," he said. Then, looking at Ned again, he pulled out his wallet, took out a $100 bill, and placed it on the table. "This," he said, "is for the food you ruined. The next one's for your lesson." Jake turned to the diner's owner and said, "You're responsible for the kind of men you hire. Maybe next time, teach them what respect looks like before handing them a uniform." The bikers walked out, leaving the entire place frozen in shame. But the story didn't end there. That night, Jake's biker brothers shared what had happened. Within a day, the town was talking. People stopped going to Marty's diner. Reviews flooded online, condemning the cruel behavior. The owner fired Ned and personally went to apologize to Clara. But Jake refused to let the matter end with anger. Instead, he reached out to the young man through a mutual friend, asking him to meet at the Veterans Community Center the following weekend. Ned hesitated at first. He expected revenge, maybe a beating, maybe humiliation. But when he showed up, he found Jake there, standing beside Clara, surrounded by boxes of food donations. Jake looked him in the eye and said, "You wanted to make people laugh that day. How about you come here on weekends and actually make a difference?" Something in Ned broke that day. Guilt, shame, maybe realization. He apologized to Clara sincerely, tears in his eyes, saying he didn't know she was pregnant, that he was just trying to show off. Clara didn't respond with anger. She simply said, "Now you know how words and actions can hurt someone more than fists." Weeks passed, and Ned started volunteering regularly. The more he worked with the bikers, the more he learned about respect, service, and real strength. He saw Jake helping children fix their bikes, veterans finding purpose again, and even Clara smiling as she helped pack meals for families. One day, Jake caught him staring at them and said, "Son, you don't need a leather jacket or a loud voice to be strong. Strength is how you treat people when no one's watching." Months later, when Clara finally gave birth, Ned was one of the first to send flowers. A small gesture, but one filled with meaning. The card read, "Thank you for teaching me what real respect looks like." Ned, the story of that diner became a reminder to the whole town that cruelty never wins, and that sometimes the toughest people wear kindness like armor. The diner eventually reopened under new management, with a rule posted on the wall, "No one gets disrespected here, ever." And as Jake rode down the open highway one evening, Clara holding their baby in her arms, the sun setting behind them, he realized something profound. Forgiveness doesn't erase what happened. It transforms it. It turns pain into wisdom and shame into change. So, the next time you see someone treated unfairly, speak up, step in, or at least show compassion. Because the smallest act of kindness can echo longer than the loudest cruelty. If this story touched your heart or made you believe in the power of respect, redemption, and second chances, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so more people can be reminded that humanity still exists in this world. And before you go, tell us in the comments, do you think Jake did the right thing by forgiving Ned instead of seeking revenge?